thank you for stopping by my channel once again, and thank you for taking an interest in this very important subject. I wanted to touch on and expand on some of the points that I made in my last video, grooming gangs and racism, very much inverted commas. And as I said in the last video, I've taken an interest in this subject intermittently over the years. So I'm not an expert, but I do have a knowledge of it. And part of that knowledge includes hearing some of the court transcripts, some of the testimonies. Things like, a young girl who at one point had 4 different men's. Think about how that works. Things like a man using an expander on a young girl so she would be ready for what was about to happen. Because, if she hasn't bled and she's not ready, that's no problem. Just go around the other end. Things like a young girl, drugged, obviously beaten, walking the streets naked, delirious. Still no justice for her. Yeah, and then there's the stories about, the human meat being found in human meat being found in takeaway food. I don't know. So, from hearing things like that, that's what's put the fire in my belly. And the time to strike on this issue is now, because of what Elon Musk has done, which has brought this conversation up to a level that it's never really been before in the public space. And I'm under no illusions about Elon Musk. I've seen him wear the white Illuminati jacket to the Met Gala. I know he's the Tesla factory is right now, as we speak, building countless of those new robots that are here to replace us. So I've got I'm no Elon Musk fan, but because of what he's done right now, it doesn't matter. I'm like, cheers, buddy. Doesn't matter what reasons he's done it. To me, what matters is that he's done it. And like I said, this conversation is out there in a way that it's never been before, and the time to strike is now. And I'm taking that opportunity. I encourage any of you to do the same in whatever small way that you can. So, to go back on what I was talking about in the last video, about people, and the institutions that they represent being afraid to take more action, because it's not like there hasn't been any action, but it's been that compared to a problem like that. And the reason why they were afraid of taking action is fears of being called racist. Decades into the problem, and they're afraid of being called racist after we've all been told previously that the reason they were afraid of taking action is because they were afraid of being called racist. Well, surely after the first time that plausible deniability was pushed out into the public, well, that's where it stops then, because people were aware that that was the problem. So now anyone speaking out after, they're not going to be viewed as racist, are they? But okay, let's say for a moment that I'm dumb as and I believe that. So that raises a very, very disturbing point. So for all these institutions, and this is this goes across multiple organisations and bodies, of course, so you're telling me that all these people throughout the years have been more concerned with their image and their career than the welfare of these children being horrendously abused. And it's not like, like I said, I know about some of the court transcripts, and I've just literally scratched compared to the depth of knowledge and testimony that's out there. Knowledge and testimony, which won't even be in the public realm they've had access to, but they're too afraid to take action because of someone might call them racist. Well, I'd suggest to you that our institutions are not fit for purpose if the people within them are willing to sacrifice children for their own careers. So, if we are going to accept that excuse, then that's really, really troubling in terms of the institutions that we have around us that are supposed to support us and look after us. So, and again, to touch on another thing I said about why it's being allowed to happen, which is part of the reason they always do things, there's always more than one objective, but part of the reason being demoralisation of the public, so that they are weaker, more easily to control, and it's going to be more easy to implement agendas like the UN's Agenda 2030, or the World Economic Forum's Great Reset, which in truth are the same thing. Keir Starmer, Westminster or Davos, he said Davos. If you cannot see that there is an agenda to centralise power which will govern the world, if you can't see that by now, then I don't know. So think about the psychological implication on the British public about this grooming gang scandal. So if you think that your government doesn't really care and isn't going to do anything about such a horrific situation, it's going to make you feel powerless. It's going to make you feel like they're kind of, I don't know, overlords. And like I said, you have no power, and you're going to feel demoralised and depressed. That's certainly how I felt at times, at the lack of inaction on this and so many other things. But that's on purpose. They want you to feel demoralised. They want you to feel powerless. But, as many other people have said, try and keep in mind that they work for us, not the other way around. And we ultimately do have the power. And I know that's something which is banded around, a lot. We have the power, but we really do. And it starts with, taking an interest in what's happening in local government, and then, with central government. Last election, for example, I put down, I do not consent. And if enough people did that up and down the country, they would dissolve Parliament, and that they'd have to come up with a new system. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying, the next election everyone needs to do that. I'm just saying that there are ways to retake power, but you have to be willing to put a foot down and be willing to take that power back in your own small way. None of us can do the whole job. Okay. So, another question which has been posed to me is, why are these gangs doing this? Why is it happening? And why is no one in their wider community speaking out? And I would say, I still don't quite know what I can and can't say on YouTube in terms of the algorithm and stuff, so I'll try and put this in a way. What's happening is legitimate and allowed according to reference for morality, which is also why the wider community isn't speaking out about it. And that's the bare truth of it. And I'd just like to, I'll end it there. I'd just like to leave you with one last thought before I go. So, if our governments, because this isn't just a Labour, this isn't just a Labour problem, it's happened, through the Labour and Conservative, and when we had a coalitions, it happened all the way through. So if our government and our institutions willingly, knowingly have allowed this to happen to children, what do you think they have and will do to you?